Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Which verse? Didn't call me. Didn't call me. You told me you will call me and give me the verse. Which one? 2. I 2. 2 verses. 25 and 26. With 2 purports. Okay, we continue to read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, text 25 and 26. Shanai, Shanai, Uparamet, Pudya, Triti, Grihitaya, Atma, Sangstam, Manaha, Kritva, Na, Kinchit, Api, Chintayet, Shanai, Shanai, Uparamet, Shanai, Shanai, Uparamet, Pudya Triti Grihitaya, Pudya Triti Grihitaya, Atma Sangstam Manakshit Kritva, Atma Sangstam Manakritva, Nat Kinchit Api Chintayet, Na Kinchit Api Chintayet, Shanai Shanai Uparamet, Pudya Triti Grihitaya, Atma Samstam Manakritva, Na Kinchit Api Chintayet. Shanai Shanai Uparamet, Pudya Triti Grihitaya, Atma Samstam Manakritva, Na Kinchit Api Chintayet. Shanai Shanai Uparamet, Triti Grihitaya, Atma Samstam Manakritva, Na Kinchit Api Chintayet. Mataji. Shanai Shanai Uparamet, Pudya Triti Grihitaya, Atma Samstam Manakritva, Na Kinchit Api Chintayet. Shanai Shanai Uparamet, Pudya Triti Grihitaya, Atma Samstam Manakritva, Kinchit Api Chintayet. Shanai, gradually. Shanai, step by step. Uparamet, hesitated. Pudya, intelligence. Triti Grihitaya, carrying the conviction. Atma Samstam, placed in transcendence. Mana, mind. Kritva, doing so. Na, nothing. Kinchit, anything else. Api, even. Chintayet, be thinking of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahara. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation and cessation of the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. Text 26. Yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato niyam yaitat atmani eva vasam nayet. Yata, whatever, yata, wherever, nischalati, verily agitated, mana, the mind, chanchalam, flickering, astiram, unsteady, tata, from there, tata, and thereafter, nyamya, regulating, etat, this, atmani, in the self, eva, certainly, vasham, control, nayat, must bring in. Translation. From whatever and wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport. The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but the self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called Godasa, or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesh, or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna by purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. Shanai Shanai Ruparamet Tudya Triti Grihitaya Atma Samsta Manakritva Nakinchita Pichintayet Yato Yato Nischalati Manas Chanchala Nastiram Tatastato Nyam Yaitat Atmanieva Vasham Nayet. Gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From whatever and wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Om Akyati Maranyasya Gananchana Salakyam Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Bhangum Mangaidi Krimyat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dirutaranam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So in this sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Ashtanga Yoga process is described by Krishna to Arjuna. Although Arjuna is a Kshatriya, a warrior, not a yogi, Krishna explains to him this process of meditation of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, atyahara, dharana, dhyana, and up to samadhi. So in general, this process is made for such personalities who want to withdraw themselves from any kind of activities and sit down in a place in the forest, tapavan. It should be a clean place. It should not be a battlefield or a city, dirty, polluted, noisy city. It should be a pure place in the forest. Previous times, such forests were existing. They're called tapavan, where the personalities, men especially, who wanted to retire from family life and their jobs, especially the kings, or any person who was fed up with material society and activities, they went to that forest, or they went to the Himalayas to sit down there in a cave, far away from society, to engage in meditation. Of course, this should all be done on the direction of spiritual master, who is an expert in the practice of yoga. So yoga means to link up, ultimately means to link up with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Brahman, Supreme Ishvara, Parama Krishna, Satchitananda Vigrahana, Adi Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. So to connect with the Supreme Source of everything, from whom everything is coming, that is called yoga. Yoga means to absorb the mind. Dhyana vastitatena manasa pashyantiyam yogina. So yoga is not only asanas or some pranayam, but nowadays in modern yoga schools is taught. All the processes are not mentioned, otherwise nobody would come. People are only interested in good health and in fitness. So it's a modern way nowadays to go to yoga school and learn some asanas and some pranayam, breathing exercises to keep your body healthy. According to Ashtanga Yoga, also known as Raja Yoga, that's actually the system explained here in this 6th chapter by Krishna. It's not just some modern invented yoga system, some new age yoga. It is an authorized yoga process invented long time ago in Vedic time by the great Rishi Patanjali. So the Patanjali yoga system, or the Yoga Sutras coming from Patanjali and ultimately from Lord Shiva, the greatest of the yogis, is a perfect science how to use this bodily form of life, this human form of life, to make it perfect, not in sense gratification or in achieving your material dreams and desires, but actually to perfection, to attain connection with our eternal home or source, Krishna. So that's actually the goal of all the yoga system, authorized yoga system. So it is not meant just for the health. Health is only needed, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur and as the greater rishis of the Yoga Shastra are saying, health, a good health is needed to actually have a healthy mind, and ultimately to fix your mind with the help of the higher intelligence, on the Supreme Self, on the Supreme Lord in the heart as Paramatma, or on the Supreme Personality of the of Godhead in the form of Archa Vigraha, the deity form. So that is actually the process taught by all the authorized yoga systems. How to withdraw ultimately the mind from the senses and the sense objects. That is called Tyaga or Vairagya. Without the Vairagya, Viraga, without attachment, that means no attachment to the material senses and the sense objects. There's no opportunity, no way to attain the transcendental platform. But people are in ignorance, they don't know about the goal of life. Natevidu Svartakatim hi Vishnum, Durasa Bahya Artamanea, Andaya and Andaya Paniyamanas, Det Ishatantra Urudam Nibadha. So, because they're ignorant about this goal of life, Natevidu Svartakatim hi Vishnu. It's not teach. Yoga teachers are not teaching that to fix the mind on Krishna, on Vishnu, Vishnu Gati, that the goal of yoga is Vishnu, to please Him, to attain Him. As stated also in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vasudev Para Yoga, Vasudev Paramaka, Vasudev Para Dharma, Vasudev Paramkatim. So there are many, it's a whole list that actually the goal of all our activities is to please Vasudev, to attain Vasudev. He is the supreme goal. He is the goal of yoga. Vasudev Para Yoga. Vasudev Paramaka. He's the goal of Varnashram is actually to please him. All sacrifices, yagya, is also meant to satisfy the Lord, Rishikesh, the master of the senses. So, but it does not teach. People are engaged in external sense, andhaya and andhaya, upaniyamanas. So, they're following blind leaders, and the result is catastrophe. So, Guru has he has the torch of knowledge, he has the torch of light to show us the direction to go. He opens our eyes. He gives us the transcendental knowledge. And that is actually the real Diksha. Just a sacred thread without the knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and life's activities with the sadhana given by the Guru to engage in regulated devotional service, to regulate one's senses and the mind, to fix on the supreme goal, Krishna. Without following this process, there is no use of Diksha. Diksha is not just a sacred thread, but we can buy in Loi Bazaar for a few rupees today. Previously a few paisa. So it is. Diksha is something. It's transcendental knowledge, and the withdrawal of sense gratification by engaging in the senses and the mind in a higher purpose, on a higher level, in spiritual activities, in regulated devotional service. So for that we need a human body, and the human body is described in the Shastra. If he has senses, but if he don't use the senses in Krishna's service, then although we eat, sleep, defend and reprocreate ourselves, then we are like animals doing the same thing. So therefore ultimately to have senses, and especially in the human form of life, the senses are very strong and they are very difficult to control. because they're like a poisonous snakes. So you're surrounded by so many poisoned snakes, cobras in form of the senses, and the living entity who is surrounded by these forces of the snakes is completely captivated. It has no opportunity to be free, and especially be free of fear and be a free person. So as long we cannot control our senses, we cannot actually be considered free men. Although we nowadays live in free countries, have our house, family, job, freedom, and our freedom, more or less, still, because we are servants of the mind and the senses, of all these snakes, and all these uncontrolled snakes. Therefore we are actually imprisoned. Previously great yogis, for them it didn't matter where they are, if they were in conditioned or unconditioned free stage. Even some of the yogis were in prison, or they were in very difficult situations. But still, because their mind, their senses were fixed on the Paramatma, they had no happiness. Their Rama, they were Atmaramas. Their happiness were not outside anymore. Their happiness was lying in the self. Therefore, wherever they were living, they were happy. But nowadays, people they have everything what they want. They can buy with money, but still, actually, they are not really happy. And they think we can buy happiness. We can buy happiness somewhere in the market if we have money. We just have to earn a sufficient amount of money, then we can buy everything. But actually Krishna, or Krishna consciousness, or the yoga process of perfection in samadhi, absorption, complete absorption, we cannot buy. That needs a hard endeavor, a hard surrender. And surrender to the instruction of the spiritual master. So the human body is a very nice instrument for that. It is like Yoga Shastra says, like a pot, an earth pot, clay pot, but it is not burned. So a clay pot who is not burned, who is not put on the fire, is leaky. Whatever you put in it, water is flowing out. So it's weak, and it can break apart at any time. So whatever we put in this earthen pot, but because it is not burnt properly, it is leak. It's leak. So it can crack, break any time. It's useless. So the body has to be burned. Therefore, there's this yoga asanas and pranayamas, like that, to make the body very strong. So even in Archa Shastra, in the description of the worship of the deity is also described that the devotee who worships the deity, before you start to meditate on the deity and worship the deity, before we chant our Gayatri mantra or any mantra, that one should practice some pranayama, some breathing exercise. But not for the purpose just for the health, but the purpose to make the mind peaceful, not influenced by the material objects so much, because if we don't breathe properly, and we are not concentrated on breathing very nicely, so therefore the subtle body can become disturbed, and then we cannot fix the mind on Krishna. The body is disturbed, the nerves are not steady, and is not peaceful, and is not, therefore the mind also is very shaky, very flickering, like a boat on the sea. So it cannot steady itself. So therefore yoga exercises of pranayama also sometimes in bhakti yoga process is accepted or recommended by the acharyas. But one has to be careful that we don't become too much absorbed and in the process of that. Otherwise it is not considered pure bhakti. If yoga is predominant in bhakti, then this process of bhakti is called yoga mishra. It means mixed with yoga practice. But if the yoga practice is only supporting the development of bhakti, that means to develop loving devotional service to Krishna, to be determined in serving Krishna by following the ninefold process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. If it is focused on this process, then this is considered pure devotional service. So the spiritual master is engaging the disciple to engage in yoga process, to uplift him ultimately from the lowest platform of sense contemplation and selfishness to the platform of devotional service, of fixing one's mind on Krishna. And the best process recommended for that is bhakti, because bhakti yoga is the descending process, and Ashtanga yoga is the ascending process. That means it is we can achieve perfection with our own endeavor. But this is a very long term of activity and very risky. So for that I want to read you a statement by Narada Muni from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 6th chapter. In his Vyasa Shiksha, instruction to Vyasadeva. You know, Srila Vyasadeva, he is compiler of Vedic scriptures, Upanishads and Puranas, Mahabharata, Vedanta Sutra, and he also made commentary even to Yoga Shastra, Yoga scriptures. But although he made so many commentaries and wrote down so many Puranas and scriptures, he felt a dissatisfaction in the heart. He felt something is missing in my books. And he studied and studied, what is missing. Why I don't feel happy, why I don't feel pleased with my work. It seems to be that I missed something. I wanted to do something good, for the people. To bring them through materialistic activities to something what they like to do. So Vyasadeva gave the people a lot of prayers, a lot of sensual activities in the name of Veda, to bring them ultimately purified through regulated practices, and to bring them ultimately out of body to the spiritual platform. But Vyasa somehow or other was not satisfied, it seems to be. So Narada Muni appeared, and Narada, he is a transcendentalist, completely detached from any activities that is not connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his pastimes, with his forms, qualities. glories. He's only engaged all the time in hearing, chanting, and finding out places where he can hear about Krishna Katha or Bhagavat Katha from the devotees and about the glories of the devotees. So Narada Muni, he appeared, he is a self-realized person. He cannot wait. He doesn't want to entangle people in the name of Veda in fruitive activities or karma kandya, jnana kanda activities or yoga activities, mystic yoga. His compassion is too great. His compassion is too great. So therefore he came to Vyasadev's ashram and told him, you're not happy because he didn't sufficiently glorify Krishna or pointed out that bhakti, the pure devotional service, pure love to Krishna is the goal of life, the goal of Vedic process. And he told us about his own life, of how he became a devotee, how he met devotees, Bhaktivedantas, and how he followed their advice, followed the regulations and the mantra they gave him, and how he ultimately became very advanced in spiritual life and ultimately became the great Narada Muni, the next life. We have to understand Narada Muni is an eternal associate of the Lord. He's a Nitya Siddha, he never fall. So if the Vedas or Puranas describing in different lives, but sometimes he's a Gandharva, and that he was cursed by demigods because of not taking part in the kirtan. This is only an incident in the life of the great soul Narada. Narada is eternally liberated. He's only into activities ultimately who bring fortune to other living entities in this material world. So therefore ultimately for that purpose, to bring good to the people in this world, he appeared as the son of Brahma. And for that he had a whole history to become the son of Brahma, that ultimately became the liberated transcendentalist who could travel all over the universes in the spiritual world and material world to give Krishna consciousness, bhakti, to whomever he chooses. So Narada chose now Vyasadeva because he was in dilemma. He was not completely satisfied, so he told him, you're not satisfied because you missed the point, Krishna bhakti. Then he made a very nice statement here, 2 verses I wanted to recite to you from Srimad Bhagavatam. One is from 6th chapter, text 34, and other one 35. Etati atura chittanam matras pase chayamuhu bhava sindhu plavo drishto hari charyanu vananam. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nations on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Yamadibir yoga patai kamaloba hatomuhu mukunda sevaya yatvat tadatmatha na shamyati. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, One can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust, but this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. But this satisfaction is derived only from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. So here he makes it clear that the yoga practice, this means it's Astanga Yoga, Raja Yoga, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. It means the soul is not satisfied just to be free of desire and lust. Why? Why is it not satisfied? Because the living entity, the soul, has always desire. He always has raga, he has lobha, he wants to be greedy, he wants to enjoy something. Ananda maya abhyasat, it's the nature of the soul, because it's alive, to be sensuous, to enjoy, to be happy. But cannot ultimately be happy in materialistic sense gratification. It's only pouring ghee or gasoline on fire. It doesn't diminishes the fire, it increases. And so if the lust in this material world is increasing, then actually the conditioned souls is captured in this material world. Life of the life. So therefore, only to be free of desire and lust and greed like that. But the yogis want to become free of that, to just enjoy some happiness in the self. It's not sufficient. It will not ultimately satisfy the soul, because the soul wants to have a relationship. And if we don't have a relationship by the sense objects in this material world, and the yogi just withdraws the senses, like a tortoise or turtle is absorbing the limbs in its body or shell, then that's a very, very troublesome process, very boring, very frustrating, because there's no more activity, there's no pleasure. Of course, the yogi tries to find the happiness within himself, but to come to this happiness in the self, he still has a long way to go. It is not coming from pratyahara. Pratyahara means not pratya, ahara, to accept things from outside and to eat just whatever comes to you, whatever is palatable for your tongue. So therefore the devotee or the yogi also learns what to eat, what not to eat. And the best thing is to offer things to Krishna as prasad. Then only be happy with prasadam. And as Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, that's the best way how to control the senses. The senses are very difficult to control, but with Krishna prasadam, with food offered to Krishna, and for that we have to know what Krishna likes, not what we like, but what Krishna likes, and then offer these pleasurable things for Krishna, for his satisfaction. And if we offer this with love and devotion, then Krishna accepts, and we have the Krishna prasadam. And the Krishna prasadam can control the senses, can satisfy the senses. Because we like to eat palatable food. We like to have nice vision, looking objects outside. We like to hear nice sound. But all these things is entangling us. But in the spiritual life, we don't have to stop it. We just have to find out the proper sound. Like here in temple we have so many nice kirtans, so much nice sound vibration, Krishna Katha or topics about Krishna, about Bhagavatam. So in this way the ears can become satisfied. The eyes become satisfied by becoming, falling in love and attracted to the beautiful deities. Jisi Krishna Balaram, Radheshyam. So by becoming attracted to the beautiful form of the Lord, one can lose any attraction to temporary forms outside. So in this way the devotee learns how to engage all the senses in Krishna's service. And but we should not forget, even if we only do it mechanically, this sadhana, and we forget the mind, not to absorb the mind in it with the help of intelligence. Kapila Dev in Bhagavatam, he says the mind is a mode of goodness. Buddhi or intelligence is mode of passion. Senses are in the mode of ignorance. So the mind actually is a very simple thing. It's in the mode of goodness, but it can, like a child who is in mode of goodness in the beginning, very easily can become spoiled. The mind very easily can become spoiled if we engage him freely in any kinds of materialistic activities or games and plays. So therefore we need the passion of intelligence and bring it onto the direction of Krishna, the supreme intelligence, Buddhi Yoga, Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, Yenamam Payanti Te. Then Krishna gives us the strength, He gives us the intelligence, how to influence, how to inspire the mind. And then ultimately also the senses will follow with the mind if the intelligence is fixed on Krishna. So this is ultimately what we should not forget, that we also have to engage mind in Krishna's service and not just serve physically, and with the mind we are always tired and spaced out in different directions or in daydreams, and actually not focused properly. So we have to focus the mind, fix him on the holy name, fix him on the transcendental form of the Lord. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo Vachamsi Vaikunta Gunana Vanane. So in this way we can engaging the mind positively and all the senses in Krishna's service. Seva Mukha Hi Jivado Svayameva Sparatyada. And then when the senses become purified, the mind is purified, then Krishna consciousness becomes very clear. Because Krishna consciousness is the most pure, it's Vishuddha Sattvam, it's not on the material level, on any stage of the material levels of consciousness. But if the consciousness becomes pure, by following the instruction from Srimad Bhagavatam or Shastra and spiritual master, then with that help, if we faithfully engaging everything what we have in Krishna's service and in the service and the direction of spiritual master, then purification will take place. Krishna consciousness becomes Krishna crystallized. And then if one is steadily fixed in his eating habits, in sleeping habits, in taking, accepting and rejecting, in studying of the scriptures, that's all positive niyamas. Niyamas means to accept it, rules and follow rules and regulation, accepting things what favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable. So niyama means studying the scriptures, offering prayers, chanting mantras, worshipping deity. This is all very positive processes, regulations, what helps us to fix the mind and the senses in Krishna service. Then the mind, the senses become like the snakes, become the teeth. Poisonous things become extracted, and then they are not dangerous anymore. So then the senses become peaceful. Of course, as long they are not peaceful or controlled in Krishna consciousness, one can never trust the mind and the senses. So one should always be aware or alert, like a child also. You always have to take care that the child is not making a mistake. The mother, father always taking care and know what is the child doing. Or guru always have to take care that the disciples are staying in the track, that they will not make side jumps or deviate from the direction given by parampara, process of parampara. So these authorities always meditating about their dependence. Guru about the disciples. Disciples should not think, Guru doesn't give me attention. Actually, Guru sees everything, and he because he meditates about the well-being of the disciples. Like the father and mother know what the child is doing. They're alert, they're conscious. Therefore, they're always in meditation, in thoughts, and also in physical presence are ready to help. And the Guru in the same way, he always is ready to help. Externally and also from within he helps. He's here. They're in no way independent. But actually, the thought that we are independent, that I can do whatever I like, this is Maya. This is the illusion we are in it. But our well-wishers, they want to bring us out of this illusion, and therefore they're always taking care for us, so that we stay on the track. Like Lord Chaitanya had once a servant when he was in South India tour. He left him for some time. He became attracted to some gypsies, some gypsy girls. They lured him. So this Krishnadas made some. He had some fall down. He was attracted to them, and he went with them. So Lord Chaitanya, he thought, here is my servant. He gave his life to me. I took him with me. I don't want to let him go. So he personally went to the gypsies camp, and although they attacked Lord Chaitanya with his transcendental weapons and influence and power, he defeated them all, and he took the servant by his sikha on his hair and brought him back to his lotus feet, to his service. So this is Krishna's grace. Krishna never lets his servant fall. Even if we try to go away, he always will bring us back. So therefore, in Bhakti Yoga process, we have this help, we have this confidence. A yogi is completely dependent on his own. A little deviation there, a little unattentiveness, or a little, going away from his yoga process, is finished. There's no help. Nobody there who can help him. Who can help him? Huh? So he's completely devastated. Therefore, yoga is very hard to practice, and very troublesome. And even if you attain the goal, it is not the same as that what you can attain by Krishna consciousness directly, by bhakti. So what our gurus in the disciplic succession of Narad Muni is giving to us, it's very unique. This process of bhakti, direct bhakti to Krishna. Yogis and Mayavadis also accept sometimes bhakti, deity worship and mantra, but it's only as a help to attain a certain level, and then they give it a kick. Like Prabhupada one time, I think it was on the bank of the Ganga, he wanted to take a bath. He took a bath in the Ganga. And in Mayapur, the Ganga, the shore is very high up and the Ganga is quite down. So you have to climb up, with the help of somebody, because Prabhupada was already, he was not a young man anymore, so he needed the help of his disciples, strong men who helped him to come up from the Ganga, to bring him up to the level of the land. So there was a devotee helped him to come up, and what Prabhupada did when he was up, he gave him a kick. And the devotee didn't know what is that. How should I understand? And Prabhupada told, Mayavadi means he accepts Guru's help, but if he is on the level of the Guru, he gives him a kick. He says, because he claims himself, I'm God now, I'm Lord Chaitanya, I'm an avatar, I'm Krishna, I'm Bhagavan, and he gives his Guru a kick. He doesn't need him anymore. So they're thankless. Therefore also ultimately they don't worship the deities anymore. They don't chant anymore. They only use this for a certain level, and then they give it up. Because then they say, I became the mantra myself, I'm the deity myself, I'm God myself, so I don't need this anymore. Give a kick. But devotees, they always worship Krishna, deity, the holy name, chanting holy name, follow the instruction of spiritual master, worshipping him. This is eternal function. It's not just until we attain a certain level and then we can give a kick or forget the whole thing. And then we can enjoy. Then we are liberated souls. No, devotee always considers himself never liberated, always dependent. Dependent on the mercy of superior spiritual master, the Vaishnavas, devotional service, bhakti process, Krishna, Bhagavan, the Lord, his devotees, the holy name. So he's always very much dependent on that. Therefore he absorbs himself in full helplessness and dependence, always crying for the mercy. And that is actually the level where we can learn how to absorb the mind and everything. So we have to become simple and like children again. Like a child crying for the mercy, for the help of the mother, for the shelter. And then that's perfect. So maybe some question?